working? There we go. Oh dear. What a start to a day. Let's turn this on. Okay. My dogs managed to get into something they shouldn't do, so they needed to go outside. Right as the stream was about to start, so. And it just feels like one of those days where nothing's going to quite go my way. Good morning, One Line. How are you doing? Good morning. I'm a little confused. Got an email from the client that is quite well confusing. Never good. Confusing as in requirements. It's a rough start to the day. Okay, Restream bot's working. So I use the prompter, and I've started using Restream bot. So, but Restream bot, with that enabled, I get Twitch and YouTube chat. So if someone types into YouTube chat, I get it in Twitch, but I also see double on my prompter, so I have to ignore the users. But it is working pretty well right now. Get set up. But that's fine, I followed up. Just didn't expect to start off the day confused, but yes, they were wanting to make some changes to records in a way that indicated wouldn't really ever be a thing. Gotcha. I got there was a message yesterday by a team member, a DBA, like, oh, we need to be making sure that queries don't fail. And all queries should be checked, whatever. And I was like, what do you mean? Well, if we put live the system, the code, before the database is updated, it shouldn't work. All the queries should allow for the fact that they might not actually be valid, and then they shouldn't pretend like they work. So you want us to provide for the system being deployed incorrectly in the code, right? But that shouldn't ever be a thing. So my solution suggestion there will be check for records absence or presence when the system is requested, and if it's not there, disable the screen so the app can't be run while it's in maintenance mode. And being that it's PHP, just bail out to the front page. Like allowing for situations that are not real. Okay. Hey, Kenny, how you doing? Good day, sir. Okay. Oh no, we don't want just one. We want the full stack. Fine. It's free day today. Good, good. How is testing going? Going good. I'm just going to bring up the app, show that I made some progress yesterday, and then we'll continue on with some unit tests. Need to learn to write tests for C# too. Yeah, it's I need to be a little bit more disciplined over this. I kind of have this working now, but I do need to make sure it's the first thing I do. So yesterday I was working on getting nice. So now everything's now past due because it moved. Although one of those records should have been updated. That's weird. No, one of those records definitely got updated yesterday. That's I'm going crazy. I've seen logic in some of the projects in this code base that start off with a quick table lookup for a known value. If it doesn't get a record back, then it redirects to a maintenance page. And that's what you just said. You came up with a solution. Yeah, I've seen it before. It's not like I was. It's an original thing, but it would be my solution for, hey, we can't have the system allow us to have a database deployment and a software deployment out of sync. Like, okay, that's not, the code should not be allowing for that. The code should not be written to say that that's actually possible. I updated one to June 6th. So why are you lying to me? Why are you lying? One of those records is set to June 6th. So this record, make progress today, actually has a review date of June 6th, not of May 8th. Oh. But it doesn't, does it? Because I'm an idiot, aren't I? Can't help it, I must be lying. I forgot how my own system worked. It might say June 6th in this database, but I broke the system out into multiple components, and in here it says May 8th. So this is a downside of this pattern, right? In the data might look right in one place, but it could be wrong in another. Now, the place where it's right is the source of truth, so that's good. But the place where it's wrong is the view, which is bad. And it's caused by the fact that I don't publish anything to say, reintegrate this object, right? So what I need to do is publish an event to say, reintegrate the actual planning item. Okay. So what I did yesterday is I came in here. Oops. I came in and I was like, okay, well now let's allow the date to be changed. So we move that to June 6th, right? And then we save that, right? And that's just because I wanted to see it. Now you can see that moves that to current because that is now upcoming. The way this works is when I save that, I actually update the stored version on the client with that. If I refresh the screen right now, that will go away, right? So refreshing the screen is your enemy in this instance. But it will work. And if I move away and come back, it should still be there because the store is on the client side. That helps things keep fast. Eventually it will hit the view side and it will update, and I do have some provision for telling me on the client, hey, by the way, this has been updated. The problem I have is that I don't publish the event to update the actual view. Yesterday I was missing some parameters, so that's how you get the put to work with the ID, because it puts against that ID, and then I create an object, a nested object, so I have from route as the identifier. This maps it, and then the details record is here, so then this works, and you need from route there as well. Although I think some of that might be unnecessary, so I'll have to go back through. Well, I did not post, did I? Not that many people use the Discord to tell them when I'm going live. So yeah, I'm going through adding these tests. I need to test the associated projects. Things like the assigned user, I don't have the ability to sign up a new user yet, so that's going to be a future, in the settings. So let's look at how I solve this problem, because it's something that is probably worthwhile figuring out, because it has new challenges. So when I update a planning item, right? So we've already established. So when I assign the user to it, we add planning item assigned. When I update the review date, we get planning item review date updated, right? These are individual events. And if I publish the planning item on every single one of them, I'm just going to make a lot of noise if you change a lot of fields, right? So I need a way to consolidate them down. So how do I do that? How do I make that work? So the idea of publishing these individual events is that I can react to these separately, right? In my application, I can say, okay, well, if the review date changes, or something else changes, or the assigned user changes, do some other actions within the domain, right? Maybe I need to go and update something, or I need to do something else, right? So the domain events matter. I don't want to necessarily publish, if this publishes an event itself, then I probably need to make this a domain service and put that behavior in the domain service rather than in here, because I don't want to start publishing domain events directly from this code. Domain events right now are published from within the item, the entity. Because obviously the easy one here would be to publish a domain event, right? But the challenge with that is then, yeah, it has to become a domain service because it's got dependencies on publishers, etc. So how do I overcome this? Well, I'm niggling right now that maybe I could use some sort of saga pan to collect these and then say, okay, well, they've been updated, but again, I don't know when they're finished, right? So I don't know what starts and what ends the event chain, right? Because if you update you change the assigned user and then you update the review date, great. And now I say, okay, well, start on assigned user and then update review date, and you go, oh no, we need to reorder this. The system is fragile, right? But this is very much a challenge I have to solve. I don't know why, but my headphones are buzzing today. By the way, can you tell me what I can do with 93,000 channel points? You need some redeems, like, can you explain for 5,000 I'll write a doc for this method class for 10k. Hi Phil Schnabel, how you doing? I'm open to suggestions, like, Kenny. If you want me to put some redeems in, you're the first person to ever ask for channel point redeems. I have removed quite a lot because they're just not very useful, or I kind of tend to do the things in them anyway. But yeah, I'm more than happy to do some. I'm not going to do things that screw my code. We're not doing allow chat to type in messages and stuff like that. That's not happening. I would never expect that you put sound blurps effects into your channel. You would end up with no concentration from me if I put sound effects in the channel. That's for certain. It's hard enough when I'm just talking. So I suggested that because of complexity, the amount of communication needed and attention to detail required, we should avoid but concurrent migrations. Streaming is not for concentration. Yeah, but I kind of like to have coherent sentences as well. They listen, so now I have 3 concurrent migrations. Nice. So now you're overloaded with migrations after requesting not to be overloaded with migrations. Ugh. Sorry to hear that. So how do I do this? How do I trigger this properly? So what I need to do is essentially publish this event, right? This event is perfect. I just need to publish that the planning item has needs to be there. Maybe redeem for 50k that puts a red nose onto your face. That would require me setting that up, putting the technology in place and tinkering with it and messing around with that. And I found that people don't like spending channel points. Like they attach value to them. So you make them too cheap, people love messing around with them, and then they get bored of them. You make them too expensive, people don't use them because they think, oh, that's expensive, I don't want to do that. The only time I've seen the channel points put to really good use is Michael Jolly, BBB, did I'll donate $1,000 to St. Jude if we raise 1 million channel points. And he did it several days early. So my problem is time investment versus actual value to the viewer. Right. I've had in there in the past, I've had review my project, and Dota did claim that one very early on. And basically we dedicate a chunk of the stream, or if not the entire stream, to that person's project. Review my what's it called? Like code bucket thing, whatever. Yeah, so I think I disabled pretty much everything for right now. But because to me, again, it's if you're in here, it's not for entertainment. You're either co-working, as I've learned, or you're just kind of hanging out and talking about stuff. So I've got to balance. Let's have a look. What did I disable? Shops. Emotes. Yeah, I had I did put in there review my paste bin, derail, but that's easy to do anyway, so that got removed. Fix the warnings. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm open to suggestions. I'm always looking for suggestions for the stream. I just never really get any feedback. So, yeah. I think you're the first person in a long time to actually say anything about channel point rewards. As I'm mindful of making I've often asked what people come into the stream for. What would they like to see? What do they enjoy seeing? Because it matters to me that at least if I'm doing if I'm forming the content in the right way, then at least people are engaged. Yeah, but I don't. I'm not focusing on bot because I don't like messing around with the bot work. It just doesn't. I'm not creative enough for it to be entertaining. So I kind of just focus on what I focus on. Yeah. So yeah, we can try. We can try putting some redeems in there. Okay. Yeah, I could. That is a point. Yeah, I could completely disable them, being that they have no value. Yeah, I will consider. Okay. So I think the more I'm leaning here, the more this becomes a domain service with an event, because I have no choice but to notify, because I can't rely upon any of these events happening. Let's have a look. Actually, let's put a test in there before I refactor this. When planning item is not found, I'm debating here whether I want to do a result is not found. So I need when no changes are made, I need that part. I need that and that. I need the result. And yep, that'll do. That'll do. That'll do. So result dot is success is false. Result dot status is not found. So to the client, it'll just return bad request, but the API that this provides will tell me not found. So let's run the unit tests. Okay, so that actually failed for a different reason. If planning item is null, return result not found. I don't think that's a success status. There you go. Okay. So now we need, before I proceed with this, I want to get this pattern in place, right? Because otherwise I'm just adding a load of code in that has to change later. So the reason I return success if there's no changes is because there's nothing for you to do, right? So no changes being this. But because of this behavior now is starting to get more complicated, and I also need to publish an event, I'm going to not put that in here. I'm going to create a domain service for this piece, right? Services. Update planning item service. Planning item. That feels really janky. Public async task result. Update planning item. So the problem with this style is now that my command becomes duplicated as such, right? So I can't reference the command from here because this is not the right direction, right? The application goes towards the domain does not know about the application, so I don't know about this command here. So what I'm thinking here is I validate it with this, and I move this into the domain service. So this will basically validate whether I should call the domain service, and then the other stuff gets passed in. The problem with this is let's just call it models for right now. Update planning item. We'll talk about naming afterwards. There's no point in overthinking that right now. So the point, I don't know what green donut is, and I don't know why my app knows about it, but that's interesting. Green donut result. Chili cream. Okay, so of course it's chili cream. As of no, green donut is part of the hot chocolate GraphQL server repository and therefore maintained for easiness. Don't criticize. Right, so green donut is a library that's been brought into chili cream, into hot chocolate. Okay, so that's why it knows about green donut result. Okay, so we're going to take this behavior here, right? We're going to need, in the domain service, we're going to need an I repository of planning item. And an I event publisher. Dukesoft, hello, how you doing? So obviously the challenge here now is my unit tests are based around my application. And now I'm moving things into domain. So the logic that I have in these tests right now isn't necessarily correct. So these three tests will move to my domain testing. So we need a new project. And that will be tests. And this will be planning items domain.tests. Wow. You cannot spell that one by now. .NET 8. Let's create that. And as always, I forget that there is actually a template for these things, but never mind. XUnit. As always, if you're new to the stream, you're more than welcome to ask questions, pass opinions, share ideas. I'm always looking to learn. So we need these three libraries. And we need one more and substitute. I've really taken to using end substitute. I like using it now. Now the pattern over mock you or mock or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. So concerning planning item updated, right? So the tests are not going to be perfect. Well, they're going to be completely wrong and broken, but we'll get there. So this domain service is going to take this update planning item model. This is going to look kind of like my command, unfortunately. It's just not going to be an iCommand behavior. I could introduce a command behavior in here, but then I'd be forwarding commands, and I'm not really on board with that one. So, yeah. Okay. And that is update planning item model. What don't you like about that? Yeah, that's fine. So throw new not implemented exception. That's fine. Make sure that it goes that way. Update planning item now. I'm going to move this code. Well, actually, I'm not. I'm going to... See, I still need the repository there. And then I need... This is where it gets a bit messy. I've done this somewhere else as well. Domain, contracts, my tenant search. Gotcha. Okay, so I can create a contracts folder here and I can say planning item domain service. And refactor this. Pull members up. Yep. And then I can inject planning item domain service into there. And I can take this out, do service.update planning item, and I can feed it the planning item so I don't have to query it again. And then I have to give it a new planning item, update planning item model, which is going to take command identifier, command title, command description. No, description is not spelled ID. So there we go. Await. I probably need to give that a cancellation token as well, don't I? If we're doing async all the way. So now this will load the planning item up. It will. I'm not a. No, I can't avoid that. Nope, we don't need that. Doesn't matter at all. Also, that's an interface. Doing code wrong. So nice. The problem there is if I load it up, it's not going to update that instance. So I'm not saving myself anything. I have to load it a second time. So I'm loading it a first time to validate it, and then the second time to do it. So this is kind of acting like a command slash parameters array. So I'm not entirely certain I like that, but we'll come back around on the naming later. The more important thing is that the things are in the places where they should be, right? So this is this validates and then forwards it to the domain service, which is going to make decisions. That's okay to happen there. And again, mainly for this purpose, I need to publish an event, and I can't do that from within the application. Well, I can do that. I just don't want to do that sort of stuff inside of the commands. That I'm basically using these as simple CRUD and validation right now. So, what broke about these? This needs a domain service now, so private planning item domain service equal no, and then down here let's create that. Nope, substitute for. Right, we don't want a real one there. That would be bad. So now that should work still. And we can add if we want to, we can add a validation that it's goal to update was not made. So service dot did not receive update planning item arg.any update planning item model. Right, so from that perspective, we didn't invoke that call. And then same again. Planning item domain service. So my hope here is to use these sparingly, right? I don't want to do a lot of this stuff where the service becomes this big dumping ground of behavior. That's dangerous. Apex, thank you for the look. Good morning. So now tests are on that, and now we need to fix all these tests. In planning here, by the way, I need to, before I forget about it, I need to make sure I have the dependency set up. I need to organize this stuff. This is getting out of hand. Builder.services.add. Transient. I think I want that to be transient. Domain. Planning items main service. So infrastructure, the UI knows about the application, it knows about the domain. The planning application knows about domain. Domain does not know about application. So it can flow this way. The domain is at the very center of everything. So it's okay for this to work that way. Events, entities, contracts. Okay, so that's doing that, and I better pay. Yeah, I did. So that's nice of it to try that. What? No. Why are you not? Oh, single default async. It's because I'm relying upon Copilot. That's my problem. So this I definitely want to happen, right? Because I should have validated that I shouldn't be calling update planning item on something that is not valid. So the planning item has to have been dealt with. This is wrong. This becomes planning item dot update review date, and that becomes model dot review date. Planning item dot assign user, model dot assign user identifier, and then await cancellation token. So this is going to, I mean, it actually won't blindly change anything. It won't publish any events, but it will always publish that the because what I'm going to do here is I'm going to publish. No, I don't want to do it that way, do I? Which event? This is a Kafka one. I don't want Kafka abstractions here. That would be bad. Packages, projects, shared kernel. Okay, so it's only got shared kernel. Assemblies. I want to make sure I haven't just introduced a okay, that is not what I want. I want the, because I want to publish this event essentially. I do that by going to I feel like I should have enough here. Because it's a domain event I need to publish. Which is in my mediator. I don't think I have the right pieces. Share kernel extensions. So we did this. So I did this yesterday. The interceptors, refactored that. The base last updated interceptor. So this now, by the way, I did check to see if it will only apply last updated on modified. It won't do it on added. iNotification publisher. I don't think I know about iNotification publisher in my domain. This might be a bad direction because infrastructure. Oh, Dan, thank you very much for the raid. Welcome in. How are you doing? How was the stream? Hope everyone's well today. Going good, sir. Good. Doing great. I made close to 0 progress today. UI is hard. I hear that. Yeah, some days go like that, sadly. Some days are a win, some days are not. But today will be better. Tomorrow will be better. So if you haven't seen Dan's stuff before, he's making a game. He's labeled your first game, right? And in Godot, and it looks fascinating. I don't think I could do justice to a description of it, but I would recommend going following Dan. Nice. Yeah. Having recently stepped into playing with game dev, I have learned a new appreciation for the difficulties that come with it. The differences as well in how I work in this world over the game dev stuff. So what I'm working on right now is I'm actually trying to do some refactoring to move some components around for responsibility reasons, like so I can break out some behavior and keep the code a little bit cleaner. So the way the application works is an API request comes in, it's going to trigger a command, which in this case is update planning item. That is handled inside of the application layer, which validates that the planning item is there and does need to change. And if it does, it actually calls this service now. So I'm moving this service into the domain layer because the only way of knowing that the planning item is updated, and so I don't create a load of duplicate messaging, is by invoking an update, and a planning item was updated event after everything's happened. Individually, these individual methods will actually trigger domain events, but it's not enough. Or if I react to every single one of them, because one or more of them may have changed, then I will end up with a lot of noise. So I can't introduce tons of noise to the system. So what I'm doing is I'm adding a publishing notification in here. I don't want to push that into the application layer, because then there's a lot of behavior and whatnot in the application layer where the domain service kind of wraps that all up. However, I'm questioning whether I want to do that now, because this notification publisher being in my domain service feels kind of weird. It's an external dependency, so it's not going to create any sort of circular dependencies, but it does feel like an infrastructure concern, and domain shouldn't know about infrastructure. Everything knows about domain. Domain doesn't know about everything else, but so I think it's breaking the direction. So yeah, that is the challenge I'm currently doing. Ads are about to play. Ads are about a minute and a half. If you're in one of those countries that is sadly stricken by ads. Unfortunately, that is the way that Twitch works these days. So this planning item is a domain event. This planning item updated is a domain event. And GUID planning item identifier, actually identifier domain event. And that's just going to be public GUID identifier. Okay. I'll probably use records for these instead of I'm kind of making them longhand. And then what this does is it publishes new planning item updated with planning item identifier. Right. So once we've updated it, we publish. The downside to doing this, the way I'm doing this now, is if this rolls back for whatever reason. Well, no. If this was part of a larger transaction and it rolled back, it would still publish this event and react to this event and publish the integration event, which there's no actual cost to this. But yeah. Sorry, I just gotta check something. Okay. So yeah, there's no risk there. The projects I'm working on, by the way, if you're new to the stream, is I'm working on an Agile project management tool. I'm building a Trello or a Jira more specifically. I have a different focus in that I'm focusing on the actual planning of work rather than the actual getting work in front of a developer aspect of this. So I have a few different ideas as to how to achieve this. I've been building this for about 9 months, and if you're interested in knowing more, I'm always happy to talk about it, to show it off when I can. But there's quite a lot involved in it. There's a lot of technology, a lot of moving parts, and hopefully in a minute I'll be able to actually demonstrate something working. But we'll get there. So when that domain event publishes, the application layer is subscribing to that planning item updated. And essentially this is going to be a clone of this, right? The only difference is planning item updated. the downside to naming a class, naming a folder after the name of the class means that I have to then qualify this properly. So I basically attach the notification to it. So that I can trigger the right thing. So I know it might seem useless to do it this way, but it does work for me in terms of clarity. I know that both of these are publishing an integration event, and based upon this event, that's what's going to happen. So if something else was required, another listener of some form to this planning item updated, I would add the extra piece in there, so there'd be multiple handlers in here. And there are some instances where that does happen. I think no, there are subscriptions there, but there are instances where there's multiple subscribers. So that's why that pattern. But this will now, because this is based off a base class, this will take that planning item and publish that planning item out to Kafka, and that will get picked up by yeah. So the entire system is built in a very distributed manner. So our domain event is published when we update the... So we've only got in here because there are changes of some form. We don't know what has changed. We don't care what's changed at this point. We just care that there's changes. Each of these does validate to see if it needs to make a change. So it's not bad to do this way. The service itself, though, doesn't handle what if nothing's changed, though. So it loads the planning item. If that planning item ID comes back in null, so you've called into this from some other place and you've passed it a bad identifier, this will just throw, which I think is the right behavior here. And then it will update the database record and publish the changes. Publish that it has changed, which will trigger an integration event, which again will load the planning item a third time. But these are reads by identifier that has got an index, so it's not super slow. And this database, because of the way the system is designed, this database is not being used for reads. So it's not like I'm going to create a massive delay by trying to lock the table and write the record back, or query the record out. So I should be okay there. The GraphQL side is the one that gets it. Okay, so these tests now need to change as well. So concerning planning item updated, all this is changed now because our subject here now is the planning item domain service, right? These are domain tests now, not else. And we need a private eye notification publisher, right? Reference. Gotta check those. Let's include XUnit. Let's have some global usings actually. I don't want that in a global using. That can go there. Okay, so planning item domain service takes a repository, and we need it to have a publisher equals substitute or iNotification Publisher. Again, when you're doing unit testing, you don't want to have, you only want to have the implementation of the subject. Everything else should not be real, as much as possible, because you don't want to be testing peripheral parts of the system, right? You want to be testing the behavior in the subject, the system under test, which in this case is the domain service, and more specifically, domain service update planning item. You want to validate that that is the thing you're testing, and that everything else is controlled. So here I'm going to do update planning item, and this is going to be an update planning item model, right? And luckily, because I didn't change too much, everything else kind of falls in place there. The repository should receive an update with the assigned user identifier, right? The repository should publish that domain event, and backed planning item updated event is published. So the challenge to using it the way I'm using it here, whereas in the normal form, those domain events are kind of queued up together, and then sorry, I'm having a think about how I really want this to work. So what will happen is when those records are committed to the database, those events will get queued and pushed out as notifications. So the things that are listening to them act then, because it's not distributed, this part. It's very much serial. So what's going to happen is, as soon as I've saved that thing, those events will have published, and then I'll publish this notification last directly. So it is a slight difference in behavior. What I was thinking about there when I paused was, is there a way for me to say, kind of put a monitor on, so that if I see several events for the same object, I can, in one batch, I can say, apply this event instead, which would clean this up immensely, because then I don't have to have an explicit event. The challenge to that is you end up with some obscure code that is not easily seen, right? There's an indirect behavior that you can't witness. And I've already introduced that, right? Because I've already introduced this entity-based last updated interceptor, which basically is another interceptor. So when a record is saved back to the database, if that record is a base entity, right, then it will automatically apply update last update. It will update the last updated of that record if it's a modified record. So I'm already doing this kind of I don't like duplicating that. I'm okay with the nesting there. It's not difficult. But it is a behavior that is not very easily witnessed by anyone coming to the system. So you have to know that exists. And the more you introduce of that sort of stuff, the harder the system gets to use, because developers are not aware of side effects. So that would be the one thing that I'd pause on if I was going to do something like that. So my thought there would be I'd apply something that says, okay, now, and it might be an interceptor of some sort, but it might say, okay, well, if these events have happened, if any one of these events has happened for a thing, then trigger this extra domain event, right? So I could automate this one line. It might be worth doing. I'd still leave this as a service. All I'd do is save removing this, but I would actually remove that dependency then from my domain. And this would just deal with the update of the thing. I don't know. I guess I'll see how I feel about that, because that's not very simple to do. Is it? Before I go too far, what I'm allowing myself to do right now, which is bad, by the way, is I'm allowing myself to drift off into, oh, I could do this, oh, I could do that. And I'm making a massive amount of changes all under the banner of introducing a UI framework. So this is not a good way to do this. And it's actually ironic in so much as this is exactly what I'm trying to avoid. This is exactly what I'm trying to build this application for, is to try and avoid this sort of behavior where people are adding requirements to the system, not stealthily necessarily, but in sideways. And I'm doing that exact same thing right now because I'm just under this banner. I'm like, oh, I could change this, I could change that, and I'm just dreaming up features as I go. And I shouldn't be doing it. I should be tracking the software properly. I have to form that habit. But anyway, that being said, I'm going to completely ignore that right this second because I need to get this working if nothing else. So publisher received, publish, arg is planning item updated, identifier, cancellation token arg.any cancellation token. Don't care about that. So that validates this. I didn't actually get to writing anything, so that's okay. This one changes. Notification publisher. We need to remove. Let's remove all that. That's that. Planning item domain service is our subject. Planning item domain service. And our publisher is a substitute for notification publisher. So yeah, if anyone has any questions, you're more than welcome to ask. I'm happy to talk about this stuff. Update planning item. Yeah, that test is exactly the same, so I'm just going to paste that in there. So again, this one is validating, okay, I did an update, and I published a domain event, and that was fine. Seems like in review date, it was a little bit more thorough about what I was checking. So I wanted to validate that nothing else changed in that request. So if I do it this way, if any of the other fields change, this wouldn't catch that, right? So if someone snuck an update to a field in there, that would actually still not catch that. So I want to make sure that everything else is exactly the same. They're all current, so this should just paste in there. Yeah. So let's run those unit tests. Everything should build right now. Like, nothing I'm changing is scary to me. Expected to receive a call. Okay. Current. Oh, because I've introduced that. Yeah, you gotta make sure you assigned user. Review date. Review date is the one I'm missing from that one. There you go. And now that's valid. So if anything else changes that isn't expected to be changed, it should fail, and that's now validating. So it's just a more thorough unit test in this case. Okay, so we got domain tests, we got those unit tests. So when a planning item is not found, we get a not found and it returns false. Nothing else happens. When no changes, and I'm not writing, oh, well, we didn't call update, we didn't do that, because that shouldn't happen. This is the expected outcome. If I document that in the unit test, I document that can happen, and that's not something that can happen. When no changes are made, you see in here, I did not receive update planning item. So I'm validating that even though I'm returning success, because I'm returning success, even though, you know, when there's no changes, I want to still validate that I didn't actually call this service, because that is something that could easily be skipped. So a little contradictory as far as that goes, but in this case, it is, you do want to make sure that even though it's saying true, that it didn't do it by calling this. And then this can actually be a return, right? So let's run all the unit tests on this piece. And we're all green. So we're up to 198 unit tests, which isn't bad. Not great, but it's not bad. There's still pieces missing from the system. So, that being said, I should be able to run this now as a full stack. And when I change something, I should get an event, and I should be able to validate that the data is updated. Hey, Grumpy, how you doing? 8:20. Did you get fired or something? Or are you taking a day off? Hoping they didn't get fired and that was so insensitive. Hope you are. So again, you can see that this make progress today is now reverted back to May 8th because the view side of things has not been updated. I just don't have my normal morning adulting duties, so I can faff alongside of you today. Nice. Well, so you are more than welcome to faff along. So let's update this to June 6th. Save that. And you can see it will update in the UI, but it hasn't necessarily updated in the server side. So we go and check. If we go and check over here on planning items, we can see, you know, this still says June 6th. But if we go to planning items on the view now, right? Where's that one? Review date, review date, review date. There you go. I just saw that update, did I? Nope, I didn't see update. Make progress today. I'm backfilling unit tests for my project with some characterization tests. Characterization tests. Tickets, view consumers. So the view consumer should. Let's go check Kafka. So if we go to here, localhost 8081. Let's say that 8080. There you go. No lag. Planning items. Last record 7 days ago. Yeah. Let's go in. Oh, of course. I just changed it to June 6th in here. It's not. It can't be June 6th because I've changed it already. So it just determined there was no changes. It behaved as it should. So let's save that now and see what happens. June 7th. Now let's see. There you go, 6 seconds ago. So it's published the event. So now if we go back to the database, June 7th. Okay, so there we go. So the event is publishing. We're getting that data. So now this will, even if I refresh the screen, it should still load in as June 7th. Come on. Why are you broken? No! Cannot read properties of undefined reading view window. What did I break about the record? I gone and broke something. I had one job. Exactly. There's my projects. There's my user. There's my planning items. Testing another thing. Next planning item. You're going to work now. Should be down near the bottom anyway. There's August 23rd. And there's June 7th. Make progress today. I don't see anything wrong with that data. So the review window wasn't calculated for that item. So the review window works like this. It goes through each item and it pulls together in the store, in the query feature, we have this items review window. So the only way this fails okay. Window past due. Past due. What are we on? Make the UI look awesome. Simple test. I'm looking for make progress today. There we go. Okay. Window is undefined. So the review window. So in all the review windows, June 7th somehow causes a problem. Oh dear. Because I wanted to go chasing into JavaScript or into TypeScript today. So the way the review window works is a static class, or a class with some static properties on it. Each one is an instance of the class. It has a name and then a priority, so it can order them. And then a function that takes the date and validates that the date is within the window specified. So this one past due, if the review date is before today, on date only, not, so we remove the time value of it. This week, it's not within the next 7 days, right? So if the review date is greater than or equal to now and less than the 7-day window, or it's upcoming. So there's only 3 categories. So each one of these will be tested per record. So why? So I have a unique opportunity at my job to learn about a very important chunk of code that has no owner and no one desires to own it. Run far, run fast. Is it an opportunity or is it a requirement though? It's a job security sort of function. Okay. Are you mocking the date function? I know in the past that caused issues when date was not mocked. This isn't even tested. This isn't unit tested, so I'm not even mocking anything here. This is just, for some reason, changing that date has broken my UI. So shouldn't be. They're all. I mean, it's past all the others. So if I just continue this, right, it's breaking the templating function because the review window's not being set. Because there's no it's not determined a window, so that's why this comes out here. Which has the consequences that the powers that be would have to tolerate my hijinks because of what I know. Depending on the organization, I'm not sure how much exposure I would like. Sometimes it's good to be under the radar. There are limits to such hijinks, of course, but those limits are way higher if you have them by the, yeah. Well, if you enjoy the power, I suppose it's a no-brainer opportunity. So it should fall in here. So each one of these will be tested, by the way. So actually, that's another point. When I'm testing these review windows, query feature, I go through all of them. So it actually calls every single one of them. So it'll do past due, this week, and upcoming in that order for every single one. So the last one it applies to will be valid. If I were to get a different job somewhere else, I would look for some ancient code base that nobody wants and everybody is afraid to learn or touch. So it really would be the same thing. Yeah. I don't know. At this point, I'm not sure I want to be responsible for anything, especially if it's business critical. So what am I doing wrong here? Better pay. Yeah. Having chased the better pay thing, I'm not entirely sure that's the right. That's not necessarily the best reason to do things. So go through all of them. I probably need to write a function that is bail out on the first one because it's kind of messy to keep calling them all. But let's go in here and let's see when date is June 7th and why it doesn't do it. Okay, so the first one. So there you go. So Friday, May 34th, May 31st, May 34th. Yeah. Review date Friday, June 7th. I was reading the 4 there and merged them. So my review date is June 7th. My window date is June 7th. What? 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 I'm at the, I'm around 50 so I can code whatever, but I'm also a cantankerous grouch, so I need to balance value with the hassle I cause others relationally. Yeah. After doing this for so long, I want to stay positive and I want to stay focused on change and good practices and easy software development. But I feel like most days, nobody else wants that. Everyone wants it to be as difficult as it can be. Don't want to make positive change. Remember, trying hard won't make something possible. I'm trying not to get down on that one. But yeah, it's getting harder to just be like, whatever. It is what it is. What is positive change in your mind? Positive change is following good practices, getting deployments out there in good time, making sure that you're not fighting bugs and fires after every single release, as best as you can, right? The occasional bug or fire is inevitable, I think, but not just being like, oh yeah, we deploy it by hand. It's been that way for years. Let's not change that, right? Why work an entire weekend when you can put things like good integration tests and good automated testing in place to validate the application and increase your confidence? There's a lot of things I think you can do, and I think making positive changes are necessary. I think it's more Hanlon's razor, never attribute to malice what is that which is adequately explained by stupidity. There's a lot of ignorance out there, and it gets worse with every generation of devs, it seems. Yeah, I mean, I've questioned whether it's us getting older and now looking back and seeing the grumpy devs from when I was younger, thinking, maybe just like time wears them down. Dear everyone, can we please stop shipping things that are made of fire? There is a good YouTube talk called The Most Dangerous Phrase by Daniel to Horse North. Huh. Yeah. So, I don't know. I don't want to just, get into a code base and sit there and be the guy for the rest of my career. I want to be, hey, why are we not doing this better? It's not getting worse, just more devs. It's a function of the number of people in a profession and their talent bell curve. Yeah. Why did that update the window date? Window date is new date. Window date set date. Window date get date. Plus 7. So I'm adding that this is... Oh, because it... Oh, it's because it hits them direct... Because it's exactly 7 days from now. And I'm doing greater than. So it doesn't fit in any window. I'm an idiot. I don't know how math works. Or dates work, even. Let's validate that I want that greater than or equal to. So, upcoming is... Because in this... If I do that... That'll work. That'll now categorize it properly. That's really what I want, right? Current, because it's exactly 7 days from now, so it's in the current 7-day period. There we go. We've always done it this way, yeah. I think it's... We get into this... when something works and you've spent so much time building it, like again, this application, right? I keep pausing and not making much forward progress because I keep saying things like, well, hold on, there's a better way to do this. Let me do it the right way now so that it's not a debt later. But the challenge there is I keep fixing the debt, but never making forward progress. Well, if this was a real organization, I'd have probably been fired by now, because I've not actually made, other than change out the UI in a week or two, right? I've not made any real progress on the application. There's not a lot more to show here than if you look back 3 months ago. I had adding planning items in months ago, right? There's a lot of little pieces working underneath, but I'm not making that forward progress. But at a certain point, when I get this to a release, am I going to be scared of making changes and releasing things, and the patterns that I get into just become part of the flow because it's okay, it works. Let's not scare it. Balance between features and quality, because both cannot increase at the same time, right? Now, I think overall the patterns that are in place here do give me flexibility to change things, right? I just moved around a load of functionality, put it into a different class, and it still works. I haven't broken anything there. I mean, obviously there's unit tests, but they're only as good as the idiot writing them. So, I can see why it happens. I've seen why it happens. I've been part of why it happens, right? Well, it's working. Let's not change anything. But I think that's another thing, right? Introducing new practices, introducing new tools, learning new tools to do things better and speed things up. Because if I can make sure that this application is stable and be confident in its stability before I release it every time, there's a value there. So I don't know. I probably should remove that dialogue at this point. It's clearly working. Why can they not exist at the same time? Cannot increase at the same time. They can exist at the same time. You can have a lot of features and high quality. They can exist at the same time, but they can't both increase at the same time. If you're increasing the quality of the application, you can't necessarily increase the number of features drastically. If you want to increase the number of features quickly, so I suppose it's the speed at which you do them, I suppose, is if you do them in step, then yeah, but you're slower to deliver the features because you're also focusing on the quality. And something like what I've done today, right? This refactoring, another developer might not have done this. They might have been scared to do this, right? They might have thought, well, hold on. And I did this because this is now doing something that I don't want the application service to be responsible for, because it's kind of an internal domain feature. So I moved it out into the domain service. Another developer might have just whacked it in here, and it would have worked. But now that's not following another pattern, right? So it's now it now introduces new patterns, so the quality reduces for the cost of the feature. In this, we are calling features customer value. Yeah, a feature, anything that that adds to the system, the abilities of the system, I suppose. Okay. So I can change the review date. I can change the assigned user if I produce the ability to add a new user. I do have the APIs in place for that, so it wouldn't be too hard to add that screen next week. Right, but you have two places, features relating to DevX and features related to the customer value. Right, okay, so In that case, yes, but that again slows things down even further because then you can't increase quality at the same time. It depends on whether you're talking code quality or experience quality, etc. So in this case, Grumpy was talking about adding features to the software and improving the quality, or doing it. The things around side, the experience and stuff, yeah, that's slightly different. And my point originally was more around the experience, the delivery of the software, the tooling we use, the patterns, the practices we follow, etc. I want less AI features. As a user and citizen of Earth, I let less crappy AI features pushed on me. AI is definitely, I don't know if that's a thing that's going away anytime soon. Let's move that into July. Let's remove that dialogue so it doesn't annoy me again. There's nothing to do here, so remove that. Let's move this into next week. Probably need to close this dialogue, actually. Do I do open on this? Yeah, I do. Okay, so then I do need to do something. This that is visible equals false. Let's do that. I'm going to assume closing. What I probably should consider is that a good user experience when I hit save, or do I want to do a toast notification? Right? Because now that moves that down, and it's quite a jarring thing. So do I want to do a toast notification there to let them know that it's updated? And I probably want to disable the button again because nothing's dirty at that point. So let's do that now. Why did you go into light mode? That is a downside. Once you start with everything in dark mode and you go back into a light mode screen, it becomes quite jarring. Toast notifications. Breadcrumb. Do you do toasts? Is it called a toast anymore? Yeah, it's called a toast anymore. Show toast. Messages. Message content. Top left, bottom right. Multiple. I also want less notifications. It's anything more likely than fortune. I'm trying to cram a yeah. Show life. Show. Sticky. Confirm. Responsive. Animation. I don't think I want any. I think I want a message. Yeah, I probably want a message because I want it in line. So what I want to do, I actually don't want to make it visible. I want to make the message show. Div key messages, import Angular entity, img messages. So then but how will you know? If I don't notify you, how will you know? Sorry. So notifications are something that I want to lean very much into with this application, when I get to that point, I will be very interested to know how people feel about it. So what I've kind of got planned out right this second is a customizable notification of, and again, you are not the target audience here. You are the audience I'm trying to bypass for most of these tools, right? You as developers. I'm trying to make sure you don't have to see any of this for the most part. So you're not the general target audience, but it will be good to know the opinions. What I want to do is create a system of configurable notifications, so you can say, hey, I care about things changing on this item, or I care about if this item's review date changes, or I care about if it's cancelled, or I care about if it's been moved from one thing to another. And how I care is I want to care about it in terms of a daily review. I want to care about an immediate notification pop-up. I want to care about it as an immediate email notification, and allow you to tailor that to your workflow. That's going to be a very involved process to get that to work. But I think on the topic, I don't like a lot of notifications, because too many notifications become noise that you ignore. So I really want to focus on a workflow that keeps things in front of the people that need to care about it. So it might be also, hey, I care about if a planning item is added for this project, I need to know about it, right? And maybe that's a daily review or whatever. So being able to control how you see it. So my thought right this second is the dashboard that you go to here. This will kind of show, hey, here's your current notifications, or here's the notifications you've marked as, this category, or whatever. But how do I keep them relevant, and how do I give them the user the ability to flex? That is going to be a key component. So I think most people I know leans to ignore all notifications, right? But the purpose of this system is one very much of letting people know things have happened. So, yeah. I don't think I use notifications. I use lists of things to go over. Time for the adulting that we call and shortening the patches of weeds in the vicinity of my property. Enjoy as much as you can enjoy that. I hope it's not too warm there already. And have a great rest of your day, Grumpy. Thank you for stopping on by and having a conversation. Oh, nice. It's cool. Perfect weather for that. But then, how does something get into that list? These are the problems. So again, the purpose of the review date on these items is to make sure that these items can't get forgotten, right? So this is an automatic prompt to the user that's responsible for these items. So this list will be things that are assigned to you for the most part. So there will be filters up here at some point, assigned to me, created by me, etc. So you can keep a track on things. Do you auto subscribe to things that you've created, right? So when they change, etc. If you've created them and assigned them to someone else to work on, do you care? If the review date is past due, do you care? And kind of that's exactly why I think that, as from a development perspective, this tool doesn't matter, right? This is not a developer focused tool. This is a planning tool to try and get those requirements out there. So the developer actually just cares what is assigned to me and when do I need to get it done by, right? So they can look at the backlog and make that decision if they've assigned it to themselves or whatever. So yeah, notifications are going to be a big piece of this, a big piece. But that's why I'm starting with planning, because a lot of it is going to come off off of there. So P messages. So the way you use this, closable false, message service. Message service alternative does not require a value binding to an array. In order to use the service, import the class and define it as a provider in a component. Ooh. I like this style. So now we can do we have a constructor on here? We do not have a constructor on here. CTOR. Import that. That should have added it providers already. No? Oh, it's not standalone. It's not a standalone component. That will have added it to the module. Yeah, messages. The messages module got included there. Because this isn't a standalone component. I'm off. Thank you for the stream. Apex, thank you very much for hanging out. Thank you for the conversation. Appreciate it. I should be streaming Sunday for sure. Nice. I will do my very best to get there and come and hang out with you. Apex is getting back into streaming. He's doing game dev in Godot, so very much worth checking out. A nice chill stream. Great place to hang out. You're very welcome. Thank you for coming on and hanging out. Have a great Friday. So what I want to do here is I want to say this.messageService.add severity success planning item updated. There we go. Can I time that though? So the toasts have a time, a lifetime, life. Does this have anything like it? No, it does not. Let's go in here. We got broken code. No provider for message service. So I do need to add it. I thought because the module was there, it wouldn't require it, but let's providers message service. Okay. So now we go over here and we move that to 10th and we assign that to Jeffrey. Let's see if that actually works. Oh, planning item updated. That's nice. That's clean. And that's simple test. If I reload, it should still be on the 10th and it should still be assigned. So it did actually. So this first time I actually tested assigning it, so that's good. Mr. Jones, welcome in. Good timing. How's it going? How was your Friday? So, nice. So my concern about the message service is it's nice and all, but it doesn't have a enable service. So I like the idea of using the service because it means I don't have to worry about it. It's looking for that component in the page. I don't have to provide the list of buttons. Show, clear, not closable, message service, show multiple, clear all. I don't want to clear all though. I kind of want to say, okay, well, it goes away. That's just a transition. That's not. That's just how it disappears. So there is no. So I get the benefit with the message service. Technically, I was here from the start. I just wasn't on the PC. Well, I appreciate the look very much so. Ads are about to start. So toast notification is going to go up there. It's not going to go relative. So I don't have a message service option with the toast notifications. The messages, I have the flexibility of putting them where I want, and I kind of like where that's positioned. It works pretty well. So this actually, this is where this is going to break right now because I don't have the validation in place on the client. If I try and move this back to the 22nd, say, this is going to save it. It's going to move it up there on the screen, but in the back end, it can't have done that because it's going to have a validation to say nope. That's something I'm going to have to go into at some point. Let's move this to the 12th. See that now I get this behavior of multiples. So planning item detail. So I think this.message service.clear has to be called beforehand. It's going to kind of create a janky behavior. That's my favorite word of the month. Move that there, hit save. Move that to the 13th, hit save. Yeah. Ugh. So let's do. I'm putting a lot of time into something that is not necessarily. Hide transition options equals. Was it that or was it animation? Yeah, 500 milliseconds. So what I'm looking for there is for one to slightly disappear and the other one to appear. Let's move that to tomorrow. And then let's move that to the 3rd. Yeah, that works okay. It's not as bad, but it's still bad. While I'm here, let me fix up. Where are you? Planning items. Planning items component. Dot review window. What do I like about that? Okay. 6, 3, and 4. Nice. Okay. So we got the counts back in there. So that's working. So the next steps on this, I mean, similar to yesterday, right, is I've now moved into this domain service. The domain service is clearly working. The next steps are to do the other pieces, such as the, for right now, the associated projects, the title and description, they need to change. They're in domain test now because, yeah, when details, I'm going to categorize them as details because title and description are kind of details, right? Coding Craftsman, thank you very much for the raid. Appreciate it. How was your stream today? Hope you're well. I'm sad that you raided me because I was about to come your way in a few minutes. Once I've done this, but hope you're well. Not bad, not bad. Making some progress. What I've been working on today is the update path of the planning items. So the planning items look like this now. Past due, current, upcoming. So again, the idea is that you go in here into the planning item and you can now update the review date. So let's push that back a month, right? That clicking is telling me that I want to move that. So we can move the pieces around. Move everything out of past due. And try and move everything forward. So again, the review dates are getting updated. They're going in the right order. I'm trying to, move these around. So that's kind of the focus of this screen, is very much, hey, tackle what you are needing to work on next. And yeah, so some progress. We can change the review date. We can change the user. Things are coming together smoothly. Overall, you can assign the user to it as well. So now Jeffrey's assigned to everything. That workflow is, I'm not sure about that workflow. So the next step is just to add the unit tests around these extra pieces. So again, I was just about to add, okay, when the details are changed, right? This is an arrange act. The title is updated. Do I want to? Title and description seem to be relative, like they should be kind of joined together. There's never a reason why. The pause I have here is that title and description, if I update title, description shouldn't change. If I update description, title shouldn't change. There's no rule there. So I'm just pausing for a second to make sure that I'm thinking about the right things here. But let's just do that. We'll do a bit of copy and paste just purely for the purpose of speed. We need to publish that the planning item was updated. Let's no. Override. Arrange and act. So anyone new to the stream, you're more than welcome to ask any questions. I've been working on this for quite a while, so there's a lot to do. And let's do it here. Yep. And let's create a private read-only string expected title equals updated title. Seems I don't know how to use a keyboard anymore. Expected description equals updated description. So we don't need to have that one in there now. So what we're passing in here is the expected title, the expected description. Big same. My entire stream was me fixing my typing. It happens. I did a update. Oh, that's because that's not a. So that's too much reliance upon the tooling there. So to Fuel Schnabel's point earlier on about AI and stuff, that's me relying upon the coding tools to give me what I wanted to do. And I messed up there. So the current title, current description, etc. are in here. What I'm expecting is that, and again, I want to match something like this here. So I'm expecting that I'm passing an update to the repository for the right information. And there's no point having a second test because I can't test them independently here. They're kind of, you know, inextricable. Hey Jeffin, how you doing? How are you doing? So title equals expected title and p.description equals expected description. So again, what I'm validating here is that no other fields change when I do these two, right? So that's why they're expected versus current. And I can't remember who kind of introduced that thought to me. It's not the way they did it, but yeah. So when details are changed, title and description is updated. I don't do anything. So now let's go to a domain service, and we probably want to create a method on here. Public void update description, string title, update details. Actually, it is kind of the description. I probably want to review that naming because the naming is slightly off there. In terms of it's not really description, it's not really details. So yeah. So here we're going to do the same thing as I normally do. If title equals title and description equals description, return. That's just an escape because I don't want to create unnecessary events in the domain. And then we want to say title equals title and description equals description. This will actually save to the database, and then right now there's no reason for me to change anything, so I don't need to publish a domain event from this one. But it's better to do it in this class than it is to do it to expose these as public, so this behavior is wrapped up. In my opinion, not a hard rule. Update details, model.title, model.description. Right. So now the unit test should pass. No. Expected to receive a matching call, non-matching call. So we called update. Expected title, expected description, current title, current description. This is creating an object that will return from the database when queried. It's using an object builder because the way that I've set up this planning item object, it has no public constructor, which means I can't just create a new one and return that. And that's all to try and protect the data and control. Oh, that's why. Yeah, review date, assigned, description. Yeah, that's fine. There you go. So now I should be able to run. I should be able to update the title or description of something, and then we should be good. Hey, Arun, how you doing? Welcome in. Okay, so I'm good, thanks. I'm good. It is a Friday. That is good. Okay, so we just added the test in for that. We got the details. So now I should be able to go and change one of these. and trust that it's going to work. Yeah, happy weekend. We have a pool, and that got opened this week, and the heater's been on, so hopefully this weekend I can get some swimming in. So let's make this. So this will be commit this branch and get it merged before doing more work. We should really get this branch committed and merged. There's so much extra work than getting prime and G involved. And let's move that to next week and save that. So now it will update. This will always update in the client because it updates the store directly, right? So he says, what did I just break? That's awesome. How did I break that then? That totally disappeared, didn't it? No, that's too big. So if you're new to the stream and you have questions about what I'm doing, you're more than welcome to ask. There's a lot of code in this application so far, so it's a little hard to just sit here and describe. I think that broke. Oh, no, it didn't. But I definitely lost that item, didn't I? Or did I? Did it just not update? Oh, it was this one I tried to update, right? So debug. That's never good. Slot polling that way. Updated prime ng. So if I save that, that changes to updated prime ng, right? If I go to the database, that's the what's Agile Platform? So Agile Platform is kind of the word the name I'm kind of attaching to this. The project name is Liquid Sky is the code name I've given it until I come up with a better name. So think Jira, think tools for tracking work. I have spent a long time working in tools that have made development harder because we spend so much time doing maintenance stuff and admin stuff, and it just takes its toll. So what I'm trying to build here is, and this piece right this second is the focus on the planning aspect of things. So gathering requirements and gathering information to try and create meaningful stories as an output of this. So this planning, the concept is that a review date must be set on everything. The review date dictates, the priority because it's going to keep prompting you. You come into the screen past due. These are things that need to be reviewed first. You cannot change the order of these because they're grouped by this. This tool is aimed at for product managers and people like that. So the idea will be that they go in here and they can find they can define the requirements that they think they need to define. So because I've dealt with a lot of different PMs, and what they'll do is they'll create these massive stories that then they need to be picked apart, and they'll spend a lot of time putting effort into building a story that is meaningful. But then we come in as developers and we look at the story like, oh, well, no, that's a different story, that's a different story, and pull it apart. So what I'm trying to do is give them the ability to describe the thing they want, build out the list of requirements. The requirements are missing from this right now. There's more to this screen than just that. And then the developers can look at the story with them and then produce story, or look at the card, the planning item, and then produce stories relevant for the developers to take up into the development aspect of this. So the overall system is designed as a set of components, so each part of the system is its own set of services. It's a module, a monolith, I suppose, and the data is produced through Kafka to a GraphQL UI. So there's a lot of different technology going on in this. So I call it the Agile platform because it is, right now, it's not really a cohesive UI or anything. It's not a named product. It is being built as a product. I am trying to build this in the way I would build real software. So I do intend for this to go further. For right now, though, that is not doing what I want it to do. So something is missing, and I'll need to fix that before I move further forward. So let's have a look. Let's have a look at what that's doing. So yeah, this is about 9 months of work, but there is a lot of different technology in here. There's a lot of different services. It's a .NET backend with Kafka and mass transit and API gateways and all sorts. So that's what I'm saying when I'm introducing it. I'm like, well, if you have any questions, let me know, because it's more. There's a lot to show, and if every time I kind of demonstrate it, it will take even longer. Updated to prime ng and did more stuff. I've also got to start writing these as if I am intending to use them. So that hit. Okay, so it got there. We go into the planning domain, go to the service, and get here. Why did you not get where you should have done? So, this, you mean? The UI? Yeah, this is the UI for the application. I've been building using PrimeNG. So PrimeNG this is Angular-based client, using PrimeNG for the tooling for the grids and stuff, and the tabs and stuff. This is a recent change, a bit of an overhaul, and the backend is all .NET. And the problem here is one of my making. So by breaking up the application, the way the application invokes this, right? So the planning item itself, I don't do this. So it determined there was no changes because those two things didn't change. So title is equal to command.title and planning item .description equals command.description. So what I need to do there is I need to figure out a better way in the testing concerning planet when no changes are made, right? So this is now a weak test because it can easily miss. I can make the code test the domain test pass, but this is a weak test, so that was getting stripped out. What is it? Okay, what? So if I start this up now, and the components of this application, as I'm building the application out, the application itself is closed source because there's a lot of code that I've been writing that I really do want to treat as a product. There are components of it, things like Kafka, etc. The Kafka library that I've built for supporting Kafka messaging, the mediator stuff that I've built, those I've open sourced, right? So that there are offshoots libraries that have been created and are available on my GitHub. And if there's things that people see that they're more interested in understanding, I'm happy to divert. It's a real good tool indeed. We'll have voice prompts, like you talk into it and saves and sorts what you want. I'm not sure about voice prompts, but the intention is to use some AI stuff in here. Especially for the story writing. I want to be able to prompt. I want to experiment with prompts to say, hey, given the text that the user's given you, can you figure out what requirements are in there and kind of give them some help with building out meaningful stories? Because again, the challenge is as product managers, they have this idea and they write a load of stuff in there, but they either get too technical or too vague, and they don't really give you a list of requirements from what they're asking you for. So I want to experiment with AI prompts to say, okay, well, the user just writes what they want in here. Identify potential requirements for us to work off of. So, you know, like the button should show on the screen, the UI should update, we should see a pop-up here, etc. So as I start to build this tooling more, I'll start to use the tooling to describe the application and start to actually use this tool to set my features in place, and we can experiment more and more. Voice interaction isn't a common user interface for this sort of stuff because, again, it's a little hard to do. But anyway, so if we change this now, so the reason this is changed here, but it's not actually changed in the back end, is because when I save it, if the save is successful, it applies to the model. So the model on the client side has been updated, but the server side hasn't. That is a downside to this distributed technology. Maybe a text limit like Twitter would help. If they can convey what they want in shorter form, that would make them think better. It could do. The risk there is you're trying to make them be as succinct as possible. And the problem I've seen is that a lot of times product managers are very expressive about what they want. And if you give them enough room, they can dream it up, and then you can actually get what the requirements are from them. If you try and narrow them or speed them up, they'll oftentimes try and cut corners, and you miss things. And assumptions and missed requirements are a very painful point of software development, right? So when I hit save now, that applies. Right, if I refresh, it should still be there. Nope. But it did change there. It hasn't changed in the view yet. That's the problem. So the view, this is a downside to this technology, right? The event has not fired. Oh, there we go. So now it should be gone. Yeah, update to PrimeNG and did more stuff. So the distributed nature of it means that the back end is going to take a little while to catch up. But anyway, I just realized what time I'm on. Unfortunately, I do have to finish. I have a job to start in 3 minutes. And running over that would be bad. So again, we can update the time. So we can update now the title, the description. We can update the review date and the user assigned. So the next thing to do is add the projects that are assigned to it in. And then we can carry on moving forward and start adding more features to the application. So, yeah. What's your views on AI used for people in their everyday life? Can it be used to be in a way that's not dependent? I'm not entirely sure. Unfortunately, I don't really have the time to go into an AI discussion on the stream right now. But I think a lot of AI can be used effectively. I just don't know if we understand its use cases right now. I think it's going to take a few years to play out as to how we actually end up using the technologies. But yeah, if you're interested, there is a Discord. You're more than welcome to join the Discord. And I'm always happy to carry on conversations like that and technology conversations off stream. One Lion, thank you very much for hanging out. I look forward to Community Day. If you are not aware, One Lion does stream as well. And on Friday is Community Day, where you can chat and talk about all sorts of other stuff. And it's a great place to hang out. So I would recommend checking out One Lion. Thank you very much for joining me. I must rush. We're going to raid Frank. I'm so happy to see Frank raiding on streaming on Fridays. Frank is a Microsoft developer. He does a lot of cloud stuff, like a discussion on whether AI can be used. Exactly, that's the perfect place with a lot of intelligent people that go into One Lion stream that love talking about that stuff. And Deflux. Sorry, that was too mean. I'll see you all soon. Let's go raid Frank. Have a great rest of your day. If I don't see you around, take care. And Coding Craftsman, thank you very much for the raid again. Take care all. Bye.